I want to know the joy that you find in the business. I want to know the joy still attached to the craft. Why are you still doing it? What makes you happy or not happy in doing it?
So I learned a valuable lesson recently, which is I am not a recreator. I am a creator. Mm-hmm. And it shifted everything for me because I'm married to someone who is a creator and a recreator, and he loves recreation, loves it. That flips his switch. He's a fisherman and he's a musician, and like that flips his switch. He loves to do it, plays golf, loves it. I do those things because there's something to do to pass some time, and it's a social thing or whatever, and I grew up like doing those things, but they were never in my DNA. They were outside my DNA. I am a creator. I'm a thinker and a creator, and I have been so since I was young, and I just never owned it. Now I own it because I'm going to die soon, and my philosophy...
Well, just wait a minute.
Well, no, I'm telling you.
I know, but don't...
I'm telling you, Kevin Hart. The point of it is, though, it's very important. It's a very important point. Is that, you see, my death won't be sad because I'm an old woman. I've had a beautiful life. I have a family, and blah, blah, blah. It's all great. And I've had unbelievable success, cray success. But you see, the tragedy of my death will be any creativity left in my head that I haven't brought out to then have the shot at, as you said, I have an idea, and then it can get built on, and the thing, and then maybe it ends on the screen, and wow, yay. If I don't bring out those ideas, that's the tragedy. So, of course, anybody's death is sad. Sure, human beings, we have feelings. Some people like the people that have died. Oh, I really like them. They're beautiful people. They were kind, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But the real tragedy is the creativity. If you're a creative person, the tragedy is the creativity that dies with you if you don't let it out. And so for me, I wake up turned on by creativity every day. I wake up like this every day. There's not a day in my life where I wake up going like, oh, like I'm turned on. Yeah. And I'm now getting the opportunity because I've now worked for a long time. And now all of a sudden I'm owning it. And now all of a sudden, I'm a boss. Like, all of a sudden, I'm a bitch boss, and I like it. And I'm now, thank you, and I'm now taking all of this great opportunity that has come my way and the miracle that has happened from the movies and then the opportunities from the movies. And I have a partnership with a place, like you said, a place that says, we want to work with you. What are your ideas? And from that, I'm now getting to produce things. And then one of these things will end up on a screen, and you will get to see my name, and it will say Jamie Lee Curtis, produced by Jamie Lee Curtis. That is because I'm a creative person. I'm constantly creating. And I will create until I die. I will not end with like being one of those people that just drifts away. I'm going to create until I die because that is what turns me on every day.
I love it. I just love your POV. I love how you approach life. I love how passionately you speak about life and your experiences. Just since I've known you, it's listening to you talk is something that I've learned to do very well. Like, I just like to listen. For me, I want to know, do you feel there's something that you haven't done that you would like to do?
No, that's my point is, you see, I'm now doing it. And by the way, I'm sensitive to the universe, and I'm like, oh, that's a good story. Oh, that's a good story. And I now know how to go to that story and then follow through and then find out about a book, or read a book, I like whatever it is. I'm not a genius. I'm just using the opportunities that I now have to do, by the way, something I've been doing since I was a teenager. I know it's going to sound awful, but I'm actually about to get a doctorate from the AFI, and that will be this weekend. And the truth is, I'm going to tell them many of the same things I've said here. It's not like I'm some genius who has like a billion ideas. I have a pretty clear idea of what I can say that will help, help people understand things from my perspective. Why am I telling you that? Hold on. I lost the thread.
You were getting a doctorate?
I know. I'm getting a
AFI.
I'm getting a fucking doctorate.
Yes.
Are you kidding me? That's insane. But why was I going to? But there was something from it.
Saying,
I know.
You mean to backtrack? Because I got it all.
I know.
I told you, I'm a fucking listener.
I hear your recall. It's quite impressive.
I got it.
For a guy with sunglasses. But that's because you're a robot, right? Are you a robot of somehow? Somebody
Some
says you're
sort.
a robot?
Some sort. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So
Very
you're
much.
really not human because you have.
Very
but I've
much
seen your
so.
kids and you're human.
Yes.
So clearly there was a.
But
switching of DNA and all that stuff.
You were talking about just you actually doing the thing.
I know, about telling... okay, it's gone. But by the way, that happens also. By the way, it's fine. It's all good. Keep going.
Well, all right. Well, I want to... It gives me an opportunity to ask something else that I'm extremely interested in, right? Shifting away from the business now. We get the driven. We see that you're a doer. We understand that you thrive off of creative, and it's not about the recreation, it's about the creation. All of these things that you've highlighted, we understand. Now there has to have there has to be something that's a calm. There has to be something that's your step away from this that brings you a significant amount of joy and balance as well. I've heard you mention your husband several times, how you met your husband, the joy, of course, that relationship has brought you, family, etc. What is the thing outside of the machine of the business that Jamie thrives in? Where's your happy of happiest?
Just so people know who are listening and here in our audience, I met my husband because I saw his picture in a magazine and said out loud to my girlfriend, "Oh, I'm going to marry that guy."
Okay,
swear to you on the life of my children.
I thought she was going to say something else.
No.
I thought she was, I'm going to fuck that. Oh, Jamie.
No,
Jesus.
actually,
Okay,
Kevin
all right.
Hart.
Okay, all right.
I actually didn't say
Okay,
that.
all right, okay.
I simply said, literally, I'm telling you the truth. I was sitting on a couch, opened Rolling Stone. There was a picture of these three guys just looking like regular guys, like in the shirts like you guys are all wearing. And I said to her, Deborah Hill, who wrote and produced Halloween, I literally said, "Oh, I'm going to marry that guy." She goes, "Who?" I said, "That one there. I'm going to marry him." She said, "Oh, yeah, I know him. He's an actor. And I tried to put him in a movie, blah, blah, blah. He's with your agency." I was like, "Oh, I'm going to marry him." And then the next day I called the agent, because that's what you do. And, the guy picked up the phone and immediately was like, "Hi, Jamie, I know all about it, Chris Guest." And I was like, "Okay, that's so uncomfortable. Why do you know that?" And he said, "Deborah Hill called me." And I said, "Okay, hi, here's my number." Gave him my number, left my number. Was like, left my number. He never called me. I dated somebody else. That person wanted to date me. I was kind of like, okay, a nice person. Dated for a couple months. That person left town. I took that person to the airport and dropped them at the airport. Then I went into West Hollywood from the airport and picked up my friend Melanie Griffith and her then husband, Stephen Bauer. And we then went to Hugo's restaurant on Santa Monica Boulevard. And I sat down and Chris was sitting what is your name? Ben. Chris was sitting at a table facing me where you are, like that far away, like 2 tables away. And he looked at me and he went like this. And I gestured with my hand and smiled. And then I looked back at him and gestured with my hand and smiled. And then he got up to leave like a minute later. He'd finished his meal. And he stood at his seat. You don't have to stand up. And he shrugged his shoulders and he went like, "Bye." And I shrugged my shoulders and went bye, and he left. But he called me the next day. And that was June 28th, 1984. He was leaving to do Saturday Night Live for a year, August 8th. That was June 28th. We went out July 2nd. We went on our date. He left to go Saturday Night Live August 8th. So a month later, he left for a year. And I was making the movie Perfect in Los Angeles. And we went back and forth every weekend. We got engaged in September, and we got married that December, 40 years ago this December. But I'm saying that's how life hinges on a couple seconds you never see coming.
Wow.
I did not expect that I was going to see a picture of somebody and say, I'm going to marry that person, and then marry them. 4 months, 5 months later. I married him 5 months later.
That's insane.
That's how that has applied to my life. So you ask what brings me joy. I wanted a family. I always wanted exactly what I have, which is a husband and children and dogs, and we live in nature, and I have a beautiful family life. But I'm also sober. And that, when you asked me, when you first said, what is that thing that gives you that calm and peace of mind? Sobriety. So I'm a child of addicts. My parents were both alcoholics. I myself is an alcoholic, although very high functioning. You would probably never know it. I was never, thankfully, embarrassed enough to end up with a DUI. But drugs and alcohol were a big part of my life. And I got sober 25 years ago. And that admission of humanness, and then the community of people that I get to be sober with, wow, which are mostly strangers to me, somehow I feel more aligned with people who share that than I do with people who I've known in my life, my whole life. Like, in a weird way, that humility and grace of being able to say, I have a problem and I need help, has changed. That in itself gave me a whole new perspective on a centering that I didn't have prior to that.
So transparent, so authentic, and that's the value of Gold Minds. I tell you.